Alright, my YouTube viewers, this is probably going to be the last video that I'm going to make regarding the that we cannot get out of the Earth orbit into space. Now, I'm going to let NASA prove it themselves that we cannot get out of it. You know, sometimes people do not believe you when you tell them. It's because they don't understand the science behind getting out of the Earth orbit. It is dangerous to go up into space because of the Van Allen belt radiation that is up there. So that is my job, to inform you, to let you know that we cannot get out, and we have been brainwashed by the universities, by NASA, by science, and by those astronauts. They are astro and not. I call them, they actually should have a different name. In order for you to become an astronaut, another attribute should be a pathological liar, because they are very good at lying. They have an answer for everything that you tell them. But I'm gonna stop here. I'll let you watch the videos coming from themselves that we cannot get out. Enjoy the video.
Further away from Earth, we'll pass through the Van Allen belts, an area of dangerous radiation. Radiation like this could harm the guidance systems, onboard computers, or other electronics on Orion. But Orion has protection. Shielding will be put to the test as the vehicle cuts through the waves of radiation. Sensors aboard will record radiation levels for scientists to study. We must solve these challenges before we send people through this region of space.
We're also really pushing the boundaries in terms of where we're going forward with exploration. I think humans are naturally driven to do this, and this is really the beginning, I think, of human beings leaving low Earth orbit. I certainly plan on being around to see that.
Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to. Right now, we only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can get. That's the farthest that we can go. We in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. We only can fly in Earth orbit. That's the farthest that we can go. And this new system that we're building is going to allow us to go beyond and hopefully take humans into the solar system to explore. So the moon, Mars, asteroids, there's a lot of destinations that we could go to, and we're building these building block components in order to allow us to do that eventually.
In low Earth orbit, the crew will be exposed to larger amounts of radiation. So we have to design both the crew protection systems and our electronic systems to withstand this radiation. Once we travel beyond low Earth orbit, Once we travel beyond low Earth orbit, the crew will be exposed to larger amounts of radiation. Once we travel beyond low Earth orbit, the crew will be exposed to larger amounts of radiation. Once we travel beyond low Earth orbit, the crew will be exposed to larger amounts of radiation. Once we travel beyond low Earth orbit, the crew will be exposed to larger amounts of radiation. So we have to design both the crew protection systems and amounts of radiation. So we have to design both the crew protection systems and our electronic systems. So we have to design both the crew protection systems and our electronic systems to withstand this radiation.
I'd go to the moon in a nanosecond. The problem is we don't have the technology to do that anymore. We used to, but we destroyed that technology, and it's a painful process to build it back again.
This here is the lunar module now proudly displayed at the National Air and Space Museum. According to NASA, the primary materials used to build the module were aluminium alloy, stainless steel, titanium, nickel steel alloy, heat-resistant glass. Now, if this is the case, we have a very serious discrepancy here. If you remember earlier when I went through the different atmospheres that surround the Earth, both the thermosphere and exosphere have temperatures ranging from 0 to 2000 degrees Celsius. So I decided to examine the melting points of the primary metals that we use to build the lunar module. First off, we have the aluminium alloy, which has a melting point of 463 degrees Celsius. Next, we have stainless steel, which has a melting point of 1510 degrees Celsius. Then we also have nickel steel alloy, which melts at 1453 degrees Celsius, and of course the heat resistant glass for the windows, which has a melting point of 760 degrees Celsius. So this would mean that the lunar module, along with its occupants, would have disintegrated well before it even passed through the thermosphere, let alone surviving the Van Allen radiation belts in the exosphere. To protect the astronauts from the Van Allen radiation belts, the lunar module would have required 6 feet of lead shielding. But here's what they really had for protection.
Obviously, the only shielding they had was the literally paper-thin outer hull of aluminum, and their suits consisting of glass fiber, some aluminum fibers, and silicon rubber.
It's very interesting concerning radiation that the astronauts were protected by a thin film of aluminum, when here on Earth they put a lead shield on us when they take a dental x-ray.
In conclusion, when NASA themselves admit to never having left low Earth orbit, and the fact that we don't even have the materials that could withstand the extreme temperatures and cosmic rays in space, how on earth can anyone believe that we ever went to the moon?
There you have it, folks. I want you to decide for yourself after watching this video if you really think that NASA ever landed on the moon. I'm not gonna say anything, but what do you think? Do you think they ran on the moon after I show you all these Van Allen belt radiation? Do you really think that they really passed through those radiation with those little fiberglass and aluminum and titanium that they had? But anyway, share with me what your thoughts are in the comment section for the world to see, and share it with your friends. And I just want you to make your own critical decisions, not what you see on TV, but to give you enough evidence to think for yourself. Have a blessed day. And remember, if you want to find truth, you will find truth in the Word of God, the Bible. God bless.